I am really excited. This is going to be such a beautiful chat with my guest today, Tiphaine Bordes. And I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but I'll come back and I'll check in with you. And Tiff's coming all the way from Lyon in France. And I've had such a beautiful journey of getting to know Tiff. She came to live with our family in 2015 as part of a student exchange program. And it's been absolutely beautiful just getting to know Tiff as a young woman. And I'm going to chat with her today about what her experience was like here in Australia as a teenager, but also what life is like for her as a young woman living in France. So Tiff, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. Thanks.
Oh, it sounds, I just love your accent. And I remember when you first came, I'm wondering if you remember this, when you first came to live with us in Australia, you're a teenager and you certainly spoke English, but weren't fluent in English then, were you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was only 15, 16 at the time when I came. So yeah, my English was quite broken at the time.
Yes. And I think I'm not sure if we were the best family for you to to be exposed to Australian life, but it was beautiful for us having you because you brought a lot of enrichment to our family, and it was really great fun, even though quite often there were challenges around the dinner table when we were speaking. But what was the experience as a teenager on a student exchange like? What was that like for you?
That was great. That was really exciting. It was my first time traveling alone and so far away
Yes, I
from
know.
home. So that was really fun to do that. So many new things to discover at that time. I had a really fun experience. It was only 3 months in my life, but it feels so much bigger in my
Yes.
heart. I had, I have so many good memories from Australia, from living with you. So that was a really nice experience, and I think going on exchange student programs really helps.
Yes.
Uh, it really helps to grow, to have a different view on the world and open your mind. I think it's an really great to do an exchange program.
Yes. And I'm going to go back and ask you in a minute
Yeah.
why you chose Australia, even though I'm
Mhm.
super glad you did. But you're exactly right. Like student exchange is such a powerful experience. Ellie, my daughter, she did a 6-month exchange in Italy when she was 15. And it was, parts of it were not overly positive, but it was such a growth experience for her, I know. So what drew you to do a student exchange? How did you come about to doing that?
So at school, there was kind of a competition to enroll in a exchange student program. Um, I don't know, like they just grew in my mind, and I thought maybe that could be great for me to go. So I just talked to my parents and say that maybe I would like to leave. They told me just do my researches. So I've been I was looking for organization that did that.
Yes.
So and I found one. They were doing only a 3 months program in Australia, and I just thought it was great. So I didn't miss any uh, school year in France. So it was during July to October. So it was during my summer in France. So I only missed maybe a month and a half of school in France. That was great for me. I don't know, Australia seems like this big country so far away. In France, when we think of Australia, we think of the outback and
Yes.
kangaroos big cities. So I just thought, why not? So let's go
Oh,
for it. And my parents were 100% behind me for this experience. So
oh, I'm so glad. And do you remember? I don't know if you remember when we picked you up from the airport at Canberra.
Mhm.
So for those of you who are our international listeners, Canberra is the capital of Australia. It's called the Bush Capital because we're sort of like a big country town. It's our population, oh gosh, I think maybe is 400,000. So we're not a huge metropolis, but when we picked you up from the airport, when we drove home, there were kangaroos. Do you remember the
Yes,
kangaroos? And we went down to the golf course and the kangaroos come right up to people around the golf. I mean, we didn't go and stand right with them, but you got to see
Mhm.
kangaroos on your first day. That was very exciting.
Yeah, that's right. That
Yeah.
was really new for me. So exciting. So many new things to discover. I don't
Were
know. That
you
was really
nervous? Like, and this is going back, gosh, this is going back 7 years ago. But were you were you nervous coming to, you didn't know us as a family. Were you nervous?
actually, I wasn't that nervous. I wasn't really nervous to. I don't know. I wasn't really wondering like what if they didn't like me. I don't know. From the small exchanges we had
Yes.
before I came to Australia, I just thought we had families really similar.
Yes.
So I just thought I would get along with everyone in the family. I wasn't really nervous on that, but I was more nervous on my English because um, I wasn't really confident in my English. I was afraid to make mistakes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was what made me really nervous at that time.
But you got to practice, like you practiced with us, our
Yes.
crazy family, and you picked things up. So we gave you a little bit of the real version of English, maybe. And then going to school, like you went to school while you were
Mhm.
here. So that was the school system different to France?
That was quite different because I had to choose my subjects, which we
Yes.
don't in France. We just kind of, in high school, we kind of choose a field of study, the literature, science, or more management, but we don't specifically choose subjects. So that was really different, and I got to choose subject. I could never study in high school, like psychology, photography, uh, and I don't remember the others.
No, I don't
but
remember the others. I remember the photography.
yes, but yeah, that was quite fun to discover a new system, and also the proximity with the teacher is really different.
Yes.
Teacher were really friendly. You could just call them with their first name.
Yes. Yes.
You don't in France, so
You
that
don't.
was
It's much more formal, isn't it, in France? Much more formal.
yes, exactly. The teacher was just really friendly, because I was French, I'm not fluent in English. They would try to help me as much as they could.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was a nice experience as well.
And it was more about the experience too, wasn't it? You didn't have to get certain grades while you were here. It was certainly about going to school and participating, but it was about the experience. I was going to say something, but that just went out of my mind. Oh, I know what I was going to say when Ellie was on her student exchange in Italy, they have specialty schools, and she went to a aeronautical school.
Oh, yes,
And
right.
she was studying aeronautical engineering in Italian, and Elliot was just like, what? And doing high level maths. It was just, I remember her. That was not her forte. It was not her. It was for pilots. There was two girls in the class. The rest of them were boys studying to be pilots, and they put Elliot in the class with them. And it was just like, if you're listening, Elle, do you remember that experience? That was very funny. That made me laugh. And I think when she even when she was studying English as one of her subjects, the Italian kids got marked higher than Ellie's fluent English. And that was a funny experience. So the school system is very different, isn't it?
Yes.
In different countries, the school system is very different. Yeah. Were there challenges when you were here living away from home? Do you recall some of those challenges?
Yes.
Other than the English.
So before we left, the organization that did the exchange student program told us that, so at first we're gonna like discover and we're gonna like really enjoy everything, and then we're gonna have a bit of a meltdown because we don't progress as much as we would like. We have the cultural shock, and there were like moments I was just, I don't understand anything that's happening around me. I don't understand in class. I don't understand with my host family. I don't understand anything. So why am I here? So there was a moment like that because I would just feel not alone, but really just moving across everyone, and I just couldn't understand what was really happening around me, and I couldn't understand conversation around me. So that was quite difficult at that time. But I think I started making progress in English after my second month with you. So that really helped me.
I reckon it might have been when we played that card game about bullshit, and you picked that up really quickly and you were able to express yourself maybe a little bit. But it is very, the culture shock is very real, and being here, I think it's a really brave thing to do because you're coming into an environment that's new and exciting, but it's also, like you said, you're not picking up on the nuances of the conversation around you. You're feeling alone because you're different and you don't sort of feeling a little left out. I remember John and I was looking at doing some work in Cambodia, and I was doing some, John and I traveled there and we were exploring a place for me to run some programs there. And I was the minority. I didn't speak the language. I looked very, very different. And I felt that, yes, I didn't get what they were all talking about. And it sort of was like they were talking about me. And it's like, what are they saying? And I felt very uncomfortable in some being the outsider. And it really gave me a greater appreciation for instances where people are outsiders and how we can be more inclusive there. What was your best bit about being in Australia? What was your favorite thing?
Honestly, it was my host family.
Good answer.
Yes. It's not just to send you flowers, like to compliment you, but it's really because we did so much things together. Like during the 3 months, we traveled a bit, and you always tried to share a moment with me every day. So it was either during dinner or just coming to my room to ask me how my day was after school, and trying to talk to me to, I don't know, that was really great, and we did so much things. So that was really fun.
Do you remember a couple of trips we went on? Because in Australia, it's a big country. Our family travel, we drive a lot. So John's from Adelaide, and ever since I've been with him, we've driven to Adelaide, which is a 14-hour drive, and the kids are really good travelers. And I remember we took you on a couple of day trips, and you were kind of like, Oh my God, like we're driving. I think we did a trip to Wollongong, which is, it's only 3.5 hours, but for you, you'd be in a different country. If you were in France, you'd be in a different country. Yeah.
Yes, and I remember as well, one day we just went on a road trip to Adaminaby,
Yeah. Oh,
I
well
think.
done. Anamitaby. Yes.
Yes, just to get lunch. And I think that was so fun for me because I don't think at first we would ever do a 3-hour drive just to get lunch somewhere and go back, because from where I live, we would just be going to Paris, have lunch, and then go back home. So,
And you would, yes, yes. So we quite often, well, not quite often, but that might be unusual for some families in Australia, but we do a lot of day tripping, driving, traveling for things. And there's so much to see. Gosh, you saw a tiny, tiny little bit of Australia. So, Tiff, what was it like for you going back home after having this beautiful, wonderful experience? Do you remember what the transition was like going back home?
oh, that was horrible going back home because I felt like my exchange program shouldn't have ended only at 3 months, and it should have been longer. So that was really hard. And also when I came back home, there was the reverse cultural shock because I got used to the Australian culture, and I had my routine, and I don't know, I just got used to living there. And then I just had like to go back to my old life, and that was really hard because I missed a month of school, and I had to get back in that and try to get back on the work I missed. So that was really difficult for me, and I had a really hard time after coming home.
Yeah. Do you know what? I remember when Elle came back from her trip, she went through the same thing. It was almost like you've experienced this wonderful new culture, and then you come back. And I don't know if you experienced this, but Elle did, and I certainly did after a period of travel when I was younger. When I came home and wanting to share all my experiences, people were like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. But then they weren't really interested.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you find that?
Because you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember what you did to help manage some of that, that feelings that you had, that bit of a flat patch?
So when I came back, we decided to host an exchange student from Canada. So when I came back, there was this Canadian student, and she didn't talk a word of French. So she just lied on her letter and said she would know a bit of French, but she didn't. So sometimes we would speak English. I know it doesn't really help her with the French, but she would just want to speak to someone, and we would speak in English. So I had this part of me still speaking English, like keeping this part. So I think that helped me because I got used to speaking English after 3 months. I just like to speak English, and she was there speaking with me. So that helped me to, I don't know, to feel a little better. And then I just had to be busy with school because that was really difficult. That I just wanted to go back to Australia.
And you were in senior years too, weren't you? Like when you came here. So for those of you in Australia, Tiff came into year 11. So it's in the college system in Canberra, and senior years in other states. But what does that equate to in France? Were you in senior? Did you go back to a senior year in France, or how did that work?
I went back to the 12th grade.
And what is the school system in France? So does it go up to, is 12th grade the last before university?
Yes.
Yes. So you had you came here for 3 months, and I agree with you. I think 3 months is too short because it really takes you 3 months to start to get into your groove. So feedback to the exchange people. But and so what did you do? You finished your 12th year, 12th class, 12th year? And
Yes.
what did you do after that? Did you go to university?
I did. I went to university. I studied international trade for 2 years.
Yes.
Well, I think my field of study, I really chose it after my exchange program because I chose studies that were really centered on travels and languages.
Perfect. Yes, lovely.
So yeah, I did this 2-year degree in international trade, and I had to do an internship abroad, and I did it in the US. So
Oh, wow.
so that was really different as well from Australia.
Are they better, or are they better than us?
Well, I wasn't in a host family, so I didn't really have that immersive experience.
Yeah, cool.
So that was really different because when I was in Australia, like I was really living in Australian family, so that was really great. But in the US, yeah, I was with 2 other friends doing the same internship as me, so we didn't have that immersive experience.
Yeah. What university did you do your degree in France? What was the university?
So it's different in France because we can have like universities, and I was going to a high school that did this 2-year degree, which is like really frequent in France, that high school do a 2-year degree after high school.
Yeah, sure. And then whereabouts, oh, that's Boston in the background. Whereabouts in America did you go?
I went to Utah.
Utah?
Yes.
Sorry, I was just pausing. Boston, somebody's at the front door.
Okay.
So you went to Utah. Interesting.
Yes.
How come Utah? Was that where you were placed?
Yes. So my my school had like this partnership with this internship, with this company for the internship. So I just thought that the job was interesting for my internship. So that's why I went to Utah.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I don't know much really about. I know little bits about America. How long was that for? How long was the internship for?
For 3 months.
Oh, well, another 3 months. Yeah. And when you did that, you then came back, finished your degree, and then you went on to do a master's. Is that right?
No, just after this 2-year degree, I went on a gap year.
Sure.
And I went to London to be an au pair for a year.
Oh, perfect. So you would have practiced more of your English in London.
Exactly.
So you're sort of building up the conversational English through Australia, then you a little bit in America, and then that would have really taken off in London. What was that like, being an au pair?
Being an au pair was quite difficult at some time because it can be just tiring to look after kids. But I really had a fun experience in London. London is a great city, and I just loved the vibe of the city.
Yeah.
That's still my city, like in my heart, but I love the city. And I haven't been back since over 2 years, and I want to be able like to go back soon.
Yes, you'll be able to go back soon, because that's like just going for lunch. How far away is it from you're in Lyon? How far?
It's just maybe not even a 2 hours away flight.
You need to go back. You need to go and have lunch in London.
Yes.
You need to have lunch in London. So you did your year as an au pair. How many kids were you looking after?
2 kids. So a young girl, she was 6 years old. I think she's around 9 now.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. Her brother was 11 at that time.
And did you have to, was it just looking after the kids, or did you have to do house stuff as well?
No, it was only looking after the kids, picking them up from school, going back home and cooking dinner and spending time with them when the parents weren't there or just needed me to be with the kids. So they were a great family, and I really have good memories with the kids as well. They were amazing.
That's lovely.
I miss them now. As well, yeah. But I had another experience as an au pair, because before this family, I was in another family, and it didn't really went well.
Yeah.
I was working way too many hours for little money, and it was twins of 3.5 years old, so that was really exciting as well. The parents just didn't really treat me well. So
that's not, and do you live with the family when you're an au pair? You live with them?
Yes.
So you're part of the family. It's quite common, isn't it? I think that's quite common. Or quite
common. I think in England it's really common to have au pairs.
Yeah. Probably, I don't know if it is as common. I don't think it's as common here in Australia. I'd like it to be. I want you to come and live back with us.
I can look at the done.
Come and cook me dinner. Come and cook me dinner. That would be my dream. So you had your gap year, and then what did you do after your gap year?
So I went back to France to end my bachelor, like to do the third year of my bachelor. So I did in like economic and management. And I had an Erasmus to do as well, and I did it in Czech Republic, but it was during COVID, so I had to go home after months.
Oh my God, what was that? So you went to the Czech Republic for another?
Yes.
What was that like? So you only stayed there? Yeah. But you had to come home, did you, because of COVID?
Because of COVID, but I didn't. I didn't go home. I did my lockdown in Czech Republic, and I went back in May, because after that, like, it didn't really make sense anymore. Everything was closed, and in France everything was going to reopen really soon at that time. So
this was was this last year or the year before? 2020.
The year before, 2020. Yes.
Yeah. And what was the Czech Republic like? Like aside from lockdown?
Well, from my experience, from my Erasmus experience, we just went out a lot with friends from everywhere, because usually, like with Erasmus students, we make friends with other Erasmus. So it was mainly going out, and just the university was nice. It wasn't really too hard for us.
Yeah.
So.
And did you speak? What language did you speak there? Was English the common language?
English. Yes. I learned just a few words in Czech, but it was in English. The university, the classes we took were in English.
Yeah. Tell me, Tiff, what was the program? I didn't quite catch that. What did you say it was?
Erasmus?
What's that? Erasmus.
Oh yes, sorry. That's so in Europe you can go on Erasmus during university. It's an exchange program for university.
Oh, sure. Sure.
You can go for a year, you can go for 3 months, 6 months. It's an exchange program.
Oh, cool. Wow, that's great. Okay. So then you came back to France because France was opening up after COVID. And what happened there? What were you doing then? So were you still studying back when you came back to France?
So when I came back, yes, I came back in May, so I finished my year, my bachelor. I took another gap year for working.
Yeah.
So I worked for a year, and then I went to Lyon for my master.
Yes. And that's where you are now, at Lyon.
Yes.
Can you say it again? It sounds so beautiful. Can you say it?
Lyon.
Lyon. And so you're home in France where your parents live? Where is that village?
It's in the middle of France. It's 3 hours away from Lyon.
Yeah. And what's the name of your hometown?
Saint-Clément.
Saint-Clément. Saint-Clément. And so then, so you're living in Lyon now, and you're studying and working, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're continuing. So what are you studying now?
So I'm studying project management, and it's quite like frequent in France that we work and study at the same time, but we work for our studies and we are paid to go to school and to work. So I have 1 week of school and then 2 weeks of work.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
That's so it sounds more organized. In Australia, it's very common for some students to be working to pay to go to university, but it's a separate, it's up to them what they organize for their work. And some people don't work, they are supported to go through uni. So what are you doing now for work? Tell me, this is actually a really nice full circle story.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So I'm working in the administrative side of a company who do exchange program for young people.
Yeah, that is beautiful that Tiff's working in admin in a company that does exchange students for international exchange students. So having you there would be a wealth of knowledge and so valuable for that company because you've been through it. You know what it's like. Yeah. That's good.
That's fun to be on the other side of the exchange programs to see like what exactly is going on, what they are doing behind your application.
Yes.
So that's really fun to see.
Yeah, that's good to be able to do that. And so you're living in Lyon, and you were telling me the other day it's quite expensive for rent there. Sounds very on par with Henry's living in Melbourne in a 2-bedroom unit, and the rent sounded on par. I think we worked out that you're paying maybe 900, equivalent to 900 Australian dollars a month for rent. Yeah.
Miller.
It's
I think the rent was with Melbourne.
Yeah, it's expensive, isn't it? Especially when you're studying and working and all of that stuff as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Tiff, what I was going to ask you, because we chatted about this a little while ago, there was you had that little flat period when you got back home after your exchange, but you also had, that's Boston again, you also had you've had some ups and downs with some flat spots.
Yes.
What's that been like for you to sort of manage? How do you go about managing those times when you're not feeling fantastic?
That was quite difficult because I couldn't identify exactly what was wrong, what was going wrong. But I think that what really helped me was getting in a routine. I know that's really what everyone say, but really exercising had helped me a lot, and just getting busy in general. So that really helped me to see more my friends, exercise more, and have more quality time with my family or my boyfriend. Like that really helped me out during those times.
Yeah. So it's about recognizing what the emotions are, and then keeping busy and doing some things to be able to help to physically move through, to help the emotions move through. So that's I know when we were chatting a little while ago that was a little bit of a flat spot. But now on the flip side of that, what do you do for fun? What are some of the things that a young woman in Lyon does for fun?
So I would just go out to exercise a little bit, maybe twice a week. Go out with friends, go out for a drink, go out to eat, and just sightseeing a little bit in Lyon because there's so much to see as well in here. So mainly going.
It sounds very similar to young people in Australia. What they do for fun is catching up with friends, being able to socialize and go out. Everything now is opened up, isn't it, after COVID? Is that?
Yes.
So back to kind of normal. Tell me about Lyon. How big is Lyon? Do you know the population?
Oh, I don't really know the population exactly,
okay.
but the third city.
Third biggest city in France. So it's a big city. Big city. And where is it? Is it south or is it central?
It's on the east side, close to Switzerland.
Oh, okay. Cool. And what's next for you? What have you got planned next?
I don't know. So I have this plan that maybe we just talked a little bit with my boyfriend. We didn't really explore this idea yet. But I would like maybe to work for, I don't know, for after my master, to work maybe for 6 to 8 months and then maybe go to New Zealand to travel a little bit.
Oh, our cousins go to New Zealand. Beautiful country. Beautiful. Yes.
I would come, of course, to visit you in Australia if I could.
Absolutely, we're so close. That would be beautiful to travel in New Zealand and to just explore. It is an absolutely beautiful country. There's so many. It's much smaller, so you could see much more of. But there's really beautiful elements. Yeah, cool.
So just doing the work holiday visa and travel a little bit around, and maybe after I would like to take another master in international trade. So I would like to do only the second year of this master because I've already done a lot of studies, so I don't want to go back for 2 more years. So I would like to maybe try to do only the last year of the master of international trade, so I have different field of study, specialties.
And you were saying that the master system there, that you can you explain that to me again? Do you choose when you're saying to do the second year, how does that work?
So it's usually not really for master, but for from bachelor to masters. We have credits that we validate every year, and that's what really help us in Europe to go from this bachelor to this master. So we have all the credits required for this bachelor or this master, and we can go. And since I have all my credits from the other years, I think I could try to do only the last year of the semester because I have the credits. And I studied for 5 years, so it's not like I didn't do anything.
No, I get that. So that you can use your credits hopefully to not have to go through some things that maybe you've studied already or things that are not going to be on your path. So that's so there's a lot of years of study there. Is that normal for people to study that much in France or not? Or you've chosen?
I think we usually do to the bachelor at least.
Yes.
And a lot of people go to the master.
Yeah, that's the same as Australia. A lot of people don't go to university, but when people going to university often get to I'd say the majority get to the bachelor, and then I don't even know what the proportion, but a smaller proportion would go on and do their masters and higher elements as well. So it sounds similar. It sounds, similar. So, Tiff, it's just been absolutely beautiful to talk with you and just to reflect on you know, the time when we met, but also your journey and how life is panning out for you. And I absolutely look forward, if you do end up traveling to New Zealand, make sure you tag on the flight across the ditch so we can catch up with you again
Absolutely.
too. That would be absolutely beautiful. So thank you. Hugs and happiness. And thank you so much, Tiff, for making time to chat. See ya.
Thank you so much. That was so lovely.